All right. So let's get into exactly why we need to know about these special cases, because you're going to be asked to factor them and come up with your binomials. I have example one written on the board. I did not include D and E because I'm thinking you're probably going to need that space. And I made a decision. We're just going to Xbox these because if you see the pattern, good for you. Like if you can figure out exactly what you need to do, you can find the shortcut, then go for it. The shortcut has everything to do with the perfect squares. But there's no need for me to focus on the perfect squares until you guys can recognize what they are. So we're just going to Xbox because a lot of y'all probably still need a little, some work on that anyway. So let me rewrite. If you remember, here is our standard form of your of your quadratic formula, all right? And I forgot to put my x's in there, but there they are. All right, so here's the standard form. You know that when you do the X box, your magic X, you set up your magic X so that you have A times C on the top and then the middle term in the bottom, and then you got to figure out what goes on the left and right. So this is something we talked about last lesson, and this is everything that we're doing for the next couple of weeks, okay? So when you look at the special cases, you need to realize that we are missing the B term. You see, there's no X term. There's just an X squared term, and then there's your constant. There is no B term. So when you're setting up your X box, and I hope y'all wrote this down here, when you're setting up your X box, the B will always be 0. It will always be 0. And then you just do what you normally do. Excuse me. So let's get started with number 1. My A is 1, because you know there's an invisible A right here, and my C is 25. Now I'm trying to think. We're gonna let it make negative 25 because it is. Okay. So if I set up my box, my X, 1 times negative 25 is here, right? And my B is 0. So I need to think of numbers that I can put here and here, that when I multiply them, I get a negative 25, but when I add them, they cancel each other out and give me 0. Okay, so this is where you need to jot some things right on the side. I think when we did this the other day, I came over to the side. Can you see me? A little bit, and I said, okay, all my factors, I can do 1 and 25, and it looks like I can just do 5 and 5. That's all I can do for 25. Well, which one of these numbers would cancel out? The 5s. So if I put 5 here and negative 5 here, if I multiply these two numbers, you get negative 25. But if I try to add these numbers, they cancel out and I get 0. Done. That's my X. So now let's go to my box. All right, and hopefully you remember what goes in the box. If not, go back and look at your 10.6 notes. So I have my first term in the first box. I've got my numbers from the X in the middle boxes, in the diagonals. And then last number gets in the last box. And now it's time to do your GCFs. My GCF between 1 and 5 is just 1. Between the X's is my X. Between the 5 and the 25 is just 5. And then when I go across, GCF is 1 again and X again. And for here, I have a negative. So if this is a negative, my GCF will be negative. And that GCF, that number is 5. So when I write out, bring it down, here's my binomials. X plus 5 times X minus 5. And then I hope you realize this looks just like what we wrote in the box. Now, is there a shortcut? Yes. Some of you will recognize it and you'll be able to go from here to here. No X box. But in case you don't see it, stick with me right here. Just got to remember that bottom number is always 0. All right? Now, let's go to letter B. Now, these are big numbers. Oh, you know what? Here's what we're going to do, because these are big numbers, and you guys are like, ah. Because if you know the pattern, you got it. What we'll do is I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to change these numbers for you. So, because I don't want you to have to multiply 121 and 49. I mean, I know I'm mean, but I'm not that mean to find factors of some huge 5-digit number. So, we're going to stop the tape, and when you come